Zoë Kravitz makes her directorial debut, and man, did she have some things to talk about in this one. She had something to say. Folks, let's jump into the review of the new film, Blink Twice. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new film, Blink Twice, coming to theaters August 23rd. So this film is co-written and directorial debut by the one and only Zoë Kravitz, who certainly has something to say with this film. And I'm just going to start off by giving you a little bit of background information, just in case you've been following along with this project for a little while. First of all, this film was initially titled Pussy Island. This was back in 2017. I'm glad that they went with the different title. I don't know if that was going to work. But Blink Twice, the psychological thriller, certainly the title here very much fits along with the particular themes in this film. But you know, listen, let's just get straight to the weaves of this now. Now, I watched this film, and I'm first off going to say I did enjoy it. I absolutely did enjoy it, and I think for a directorial debut, she has definitely taken a huge step in the right direction. In fact, I think for all the directorial debuts this year of folks of notoriety, such as M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, who released her directorial debut, and that's definitely huge shoes to fill there. Absolutely. And I think for Zoë Kravitz, for all she's done in acting and how prestigious her family is, you know, there was definitely a lot of pressure for her. I think society or even just the entertainment business itself were definitely going to ensure that they were particularly critical for this here. This is a huge step, and let's just call it what it is. This is absolutely a win for her. This was a great film, but here's my big but. With this film, the first thing I thought about after watching this film was like, this film absolutely borrows and feels like the aesthetic of a Jordan Peele film, even with some M. Night Shyamalan in there. And the reason why I'm gonna start off with Jordan is because with Jordan's work, we know he advocates for the culture and how he embeds themes and messages and narratives within but in particular with horror, but definitely at times with, you know, psychological thrillers as well too. Like, you know, there's always messages in there, and it's the black experience, and he's using metaphorical ways to tell those messages, you know. And by all means, if you know Zoe, you know that with her brand, with her platform, she is a feminist and she advocates for women at all time, which is absolutely a beautiful thing. And you certainly know if she was going to make a directorial debut, she was going to use her platform, her big moment, to absolutely continue her message. So with that being said, how Jordan advocates for the black culture and black people, Zoe took this opportunity to advocate for women. And I'm gonna get into those themes in a little bit, but by all means, that aesthetic of Jordan Peele, that mystery, what's the big twist of M. Night Shyamalan, which sometimes it executes, sometimes it don't. Recently Trapped, it didn't. This one, it did for her, for sure. You can feel, again, how certain elements of those, you know, iconic filmmakers were being used within this film. The aesthetic, even some of the camera work at times. And by all means, the editing of this film is really good. There's some amazing cuts. I mean, it constantly has your mind kind of wondering what's going on, because I think like in the first like 15 minutes here, a lot happens, and you know that there's something bigger. There's a bigger picture to whatever's happening, but a lot happens in 15 minutes. And I think, again, very Jordan Peele-ish, M. Night Shyamalan-like, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're legends when it comes down to the horror genre and just filmmaking and directing. And why not? Why not? You know, if somebody inspires you and you feel like there's people that are able to tell messages in their art in a way that you can relate to, but you just want to tell your own, I would do the same. If I was a filmmaker, I absolutely would want to be inspired and take direction by way of how Jordan Peele does it. So that's what I got from that. We'll see what others think once others' reviews and whatnot are released. But yeah, 15 minutes in, a lot of creepy stuff, a lot of things happen. You're definitely on edge because you're wondering what is the grand picture of everything that's happening here. Now, we got to talk about the film because I don't know what I can say without giving anything away. So I'm just going to read exactly what the synopsis is. And a cocktail waitress, Frida, who's played by the fantastic lead of Naomi Ackie, becomes infatuated with a billionaire tech mogul who happens to be Slater King, played by Zoë Kravitz's fiance, Channing Tatum. And she travels with him to a private island for a luxurious party where things begin to go wrong after a friend vanishes. So like the friend vanishes part, I wouldn't have initially said if it wasn't there, but there's that. And her friend is Jess. So I'm going to say this though. A certain part of this film started to feel like a measure of like the Groundhog Days element. And it's not, because it ultimately becomes like this psychotic cycle along with some gaslighting. But things are definitely happening in a consistent pattern that for the viewers, you're like, wait, something's off. And for them, they're starting to understand, like, I don't think it's almost, I don't know how to put this in a nice way, but there's like a pattern of things happening where nights are starting to become forgotten and days are waking up, and you're waking up thinking like, I blacked out the night before. What does this mean? This doesn't seem right. This either seems too good to be true, or I definitely have a deep gut feeling that something is wrong. And I think the banter between Jess and Frida absolutely explores that very early, that like for everything that they have been through in life and how they haven't always been thrown, good lucks and whatnot, or a good deck of cards, a good hand of cards at a time, they're definitely a little bit more suspicious. Like, yeah, cool, I'm enjoying this moment, but this is too good to be true. Something's off here. And there's a lot of crazy and like very abstract personalities all involved. So I will say, like, with all the distinct personalities, with all the actors involved, Christian Slater, one standing out as this character Vic, even you as the viewers, you're like, yeah, something's definitely off here. People are way too happy, and there's definitely just this weird sense of like, what does that mean? Or what happened to that, and so on. So like, yeah, you're wearing a detective hat because it is a psychological thriller, and that means that is keen for you to overthink everything. So with that being said, let's get into some more stuff here. Now, the film is by all means, it's trippy, and a lot happens quick, as I mentioned, and you're just kind of wondering what's going on. And with Frida, in the real world struggling to be invincible, she's now in a place where like she's seen, she feels valued. So like you're really on the backs of this character, and for all we know that she's been through, and for her to have this moment, you want to see her have that win, but you ultimately are still thinking like, well, wait a minute, hold on, this still seems too good to be true. And with all the like good humor undertones in the film that gives you a good laughs, there's definitely moments where a laugh can turn into a jump scare, or a measure of fear, or a measure of uneasiness. So like, it keeps you on edge the entire time. Now, I got to go back to Zoë real quick, because if you know Zoë, she uses her platform and so on to advocate, as I said. And there's definitely a heavy presence of feminism in this. And in this, with the themes of this film, she is definitely exploring women's need in terms of survival. What does survival look like in society, and also in the sense of survival, the how women's to believe women, because there's a case of like, if they plead for help or whatever, who will believe them? Why don't we believe them, even when we know it's the truth? That thing. So like, in that aspect of the film, you constantly hear through dialogue tons of times of why this situation that may seem to be good, but yet they need to escape. But if they try to escape, what would that look like? How do they do that? And And then on the other end, because I'll leave that alone for a second. On the other end, you do see the theme of women reclaiming their power. So like, it's a good story with some great themes being told intertwined within it. Now, there's a lot of abrupt sound effects in that, so definitely be ready for some random jump scares and all that other good stuff. As I mentioned, there's a lot of distinct personalities, so all these characters are going to give you something a little different. And along with themes attached to them as well too. The music is really good. I very much enjoyed some of the shots, so I definitely enjoyed the imagery in this film. With that, there's definitely some good, memorable moments. And like, the film gets it gets wild, but it also gets a little brutal at times. So expect some jaw-dropping moments. And then the dialogue towards the third act. There's some very solid one-liners. Some things that people say, and you can't help but to cheer, root for them. So they definitely nailed that. And again, with wrapping that around women reclaiming their power throughout this measure of survival, it just worked well. Wasn't corny at all. I thought they were well placed. So listen, for Zoe's directorial debut, along with a little small cameo in that too, I can't wait to see what she does next. This was absolutely, again, a super solid foot in the right direction. This film is definitely one you want to go out the way and do so. And you know, with this being an Amazon MGM Studios project, it will come to theaters. And then it ultimately will go to streaming. But I would say go check it out in theaters. Go check it out in theaters. I think it's coming to theaters, right? But nonetheless, you absolutely want to go out the way to check this one out. This was definitely a film that it's been highly sorted by me, and it didn't disappoint. As a fan of Zoe, I wanted to see what she can do in the director chair, and she didn't disappoint at all. So let's get her right back. And I also say that Channing does a very great job in his role. You notice I avoided talking about him because I'm just going to say you're going to go on a ride with this character. And with that being her fiance, I don't know if he decided to give it a little extra for his girl, or did she just write this character masterfully for him. But nonetheless, the synergy between the two of them easily makes it that we need more of them together in some capacity, whether she's directing, writing, and he's acting, or whatever it's going to be. This is a win for the viewers here. Nonetheless, Channing really did his thing in this film. And after coming off of Gambit and all sorts of different roles he's done, seeing him in this capacity, man, he might got something to say after this, because I might need him more in roles like this, to be quite frank here. So yeah, definitely a super solid film that you want to check out. So yeah, blink twice, folks. It will be released in August 23rd, I believe, in theaters. If not, I think it's going to come on Prime, since it's an Amazon MGM Studios, or maybe it does a small theatrical run, then gets on streaming. But nonetheless, keep your eyes out for it. With that being said, jump in the comments, folks. Let me know your thoughts about this film, your excitement for this one, and always stick around for more reviews and content here at Big Gold Belt Media very soon. Thank you for watching.